Yes, sir. Yeah, madam.
Yes, okay. Sir, start recording also.
Recording started, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Good evening, one and all. Myself, Saralati, Assistant Professor, Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, SVCE, Bengaluru. Honorable CED Sir, respected Principal Sir, IIC Coordinator, Head of Electronics and Communication Engineering, Head of various departments, professors, most valued participants, and my dear colleagues. It is great pleasure and privilege for me to welcome you all for this IIC Cell SVCE in association with Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering organizing a webinar in view of National Startup Day on social entrepreneurship, the next wave in India. We are honored to have Mr. Ashok Pamidi, startup evangelist and advisor, former CEO NASCOM, with us today as a resource person for this event. I take this opportunity to welcome today's resource person, Mr. Ashok Pamidi, startup evangelist and advisor, former CEO NASCOM, on behalf of SVCE management, principal, head of the department, IIC coordinator, and staff of E&CE department. I cordially welcome you, sir, for this workshop. Our ever-driving force Chief Executive Director, Dr. M. Shashidhar Sir, is always there for us, encouraging all our endeavors and also giving new ideas and dimensions for all fresh activities in this institution. But due to Sir's pre-accompanying work, Sir could not able to attend this session. However, Sir is conveyed his best wishes for all of us. And next we have our respected principal, Dr. Nageshwar Gupta sir, who is strength behind all the activities, and it is with his advice and support we have arranged this workshop. And also I take the opportunity to welcome Dr. Nirmala Gupta ma'am, coordinator IIC Cell SVCE, and I take opportunity to welcome Dr. Jijesh JJ, Head of Electronics and Communication Engineering Department SVCE. We cordially welcome you all as the emergency with the meetings came, so all these are not available. They conveyed their wishes to continue with the workshop. On all our behalf, I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir, for today's workshop. And finally, last but not the least, I welcome all head of the departments, coordinators, faculty members, students, and the participants for this workshop at SVCE Bengaluru. Thank you all for joining us today. Once again, I warmly welcome you all. Now, I request Manju ST, Assistant Professor, to give brief introduction about the resource person of the session.
Good afternoon to one and all. Myself, Manjuri, Assistant Professor, Department of ENC by SVC, Bengaluru. Okay, I'm profoundly delighted to take an opportunity to introduce the resource person for the day. Is none other than Mr. Ashok Pamidi sir. A purpose divine leader with over 30 years of cross-functional experience in IT, D&I, and social development space. Sir lead NASCOM Foundation by aligning, scaling, sustaining the propelled industry in achieving its goal of social transformation and impact through technology. At NASCOM, over 5 years, he has donned multiple hats at a leadership level, redefined a small and medium enterprise portfolio, NASCOM's 80% clientele base to newer heights by helping them scale business globally through global trade opportunities, strategizing a NASCOM regional manager outreach to expand and include a business in non-tier 1 location by liaising with government authorities for ease of doing a business. Enable networking opportunity with large business houses, transform non-reforming asset into performing trends for the IT BPM industry ecosystem. Initiated dispute units to strengthen NASCOM skilling, reskilling goals, and let the industry listen to build a work environment that informs equality and inclusion, government relation, partnership policies, and advisory is a forte, and his roadmap of D&I as a practical and culture for the IT BPM industry. Member has to pivoted from being nationality focused to global collaborated with key stakeholders. As 30 years of ITS experience, Sir has worked with IBM as a geo expansion leader and HP company, Compact Digital as a transformation leader. Sir has investing in building and nurturing people, managers, and team that hold up the organization vision. Enterprises in both strategy and operation management, incorporating the straight right system and process to lead a seamless and transparent experience for all the stakeholders with the underlying principle for trust and collaboration. And Sir is an advisor for 5 startups and in the board of IT standards, Government of Karnataka. Sir holds a Bachelor of Engineering degree from Dr. Ambedkar Institute of Technology, Bangalore, and a postgraduate diploma in Business Administration from St. Joseph College, Bangalore. And we are greatly honored and privileged to have with us for allied event, sir. And with this introduction, I once again welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Manju. It's indeed an honor and pleasure to be amongst all of you. I have heard a lot about SVC College, though I have not been there. Whenever I see the website, I get very excited because when I studied engineering, the colleges were not so very advanced. The kind of campuses which you have, I know my old alma mater is now very big, but when we started off in way back in 1980s, the colleges were very small and there were hardly what I think 13 and odd engineering colleges in Bangalore or in the state. There were very few colleges, and your college obviously is very, not only is big in size, it's big in name. I do know, and I've been seeing the website, I've been following it. The placement is extremely good, 75–80% and odd. It's amazing. And I do know that it has all been managed as well as, the kind of faculty which you have. It's indeed a pleasure to be amongst all of you. So what I intend to do is in the next half an hour to 45 minutes, I would like to take you through the journey of a social entrepreneurship and, probably enlighten some of you to really look at this particular avenue for your careers, maybe immediately or maybe later on in your lifespan, so that you are also able to meaningfully contribute to the economy of the country, not only to the economy, I would say, to also make an impact to the society, which is needed of the hour. So with your permission, I would like to present this slide. So I would like to just use this technology to basically look at the slides. And yes, now I got the slides. I hope you can see the slides, all of you. Right?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So first and foremost thing, I will not like to get into too much of details about entrepreneurship or social. You will get to know what is social as we go forward, but feel free to ask questions. You can stop me if you want, or you can put it in the chat box. I would prefer in the chat box because we can take up the questions later on as we go. Now, imagine, all of you, I would like you to imagine that you are basically in a remote village, okay? And a farmer has got up in the morning, and as soon as he gets up, like many of you, right? You get up and what you do is first thing is you see your handphone, right? And see if any WhatsApp messages or go to Facebook or Instagram or something and see those messages, right? So this farmer has got up early in the morning, and the first thing he does, okay, I said imagine that he is opening his laptop, okay? and basically looking at the weather conditions, looking at what is going to happen today in the mandi market. You know, mandi is where you basically sell your farm goods and so on. Okay, that's what he's been doing. Now, through the weather, he clearly sees that that there will be a monsoon coming in. So he decides that he has to also, from his notebook, he also sees that a date has come for him to basically fertilize one side of the farm. Okay, because all of us, we put a calendar. Like I did a calendar, but I did a mistake, for example, and Professor Manju was very kind enough to inform me 5 minutes before that we are all waiting for you. Actually, in my calendar, foolishly, I had written tomorrow 3 o'clock. I put it on the calendar at 3 o'clock, but it's a mistake there. But this is something where the farmer was very smart enough. He's got indication that today he has to basically put a fertilizer on one side of the farm. Now, as he is putting the thing, he has got a nice app. In that app, basically it gives you a warning, okay, that a particular cattle, okay, a cow, has basically strayed and gone and got caught in one side of the farm in the barbed wire. Normally in any farmhouse or big farmhouses, they have this barbed wire, you must have seen, right? So it gives a warning to him that herd watch is there. That herd in one of the cows has got caught in one side of the farm, and it's caught there. So with this help of this app, he is able to go there and basically release the cow so that it is able to go back to the farm and not getting caught in the barbed wire. There he also sees that side of the farm, the harvest is ready. Okay, he also knows from his laptop that there will be a thunderstorm coming in. As soon as he gets up, he sees that there is a thunderstorm coming. So what he does is he takes a photograph of this harvest which is coming in. Okay, harvest which has basically been ready, and he sells it in the nearest mandi. He doesn't go to the mandi, he sells it online to the nearest mandi. Okay, and he's able to, this is literally shown that he's able to get money in his bank directly through net banking or UPI or whatever is the way of money, but he's able to get money. Now, sounds like a dream, right? Whatever I explained to you, early morning, getting up, seeing all the things, right? Whole thing is in a farm. Well, sounds like a dream, right? According to me, it sounds like a big dream. You'll be surprised if I tell you that in Bihar, there's Ramakrishna Mahato, a farmer in Bihar, is using the crop-in info to make farming decisions. Now here is the farmer who is using this technology to make farming decisions. And this is reality, dear friends. This is reality, and this is India today. And this is in Bihar. Okay, so this is no more a reality, no more a dream. It is ground reality. Now, yet another farmer again in Bihar. It's called Kishun Rai. He has basically learned that it's better to grow papaya because he'll get better yield than tobacco. Earlier, if you look at even now, in many places, my friend is growing tobacco, and I told him don't do that, get into papaya and all those things. Reason is you are getting better yield, 3 to 5 times better yield than tobacco. And he's using insights from mobile apps as to how to grow papaya in a place like Bihar, in a place called Zahanabad. Okay, so these are all great technologies which is enabling farmers to have better livelihood, better decision making, and all literally at their fingertips. So these are all the change for good which is happening, and social entrepreneurs are basically responsible for this. Now, since I am speaking in engineering colleges, these are the various technology impact which is happening, be it mobile, which I explained to you, be it automation of knowledge workers, IoT, cloud, advanced robotics, okay, next generation genomics, energy, so on and so forth. Okay, these are all the areas which are actually disruptive technologies which are actually making a huge impact even in the social entrepreneurs. But let's look at some other area. Let's look at coming into education, because you'll understand it better. This is an iDream. It's an adaptive learning practice app by means of which students are able to basically learn certain things through AI. AI, is artificial intelligence, and some of you in the engineering stream, electronics and engineering stream know about it, right? And this particular app is actually working at the grassroots level. Grassroots means people who are basically the ones who are in the marginalized communities, who are economically poor. They're able to use this app. And today, when I took about it, I took iDream. There are many companies. In fact, one of the social entrepreneurs I support has also come out with an app by means of which it is called as Super AI. And it's also in Hindi. Currently, it's in Hindi. And the entire CBSE syllabus has been put over there in the app, and people can actually play around and understand that both in English and in Hindi. And soon I believe they're coming out with other languages as well. Now, they're just not using an app, okay? They're also using artificial intelligence at the back end. Means it will actually prompt you to the questions next. And it also tells you what's the weakness you're having. So there's also self-learning, which is really happening. And today's world is all about hybrid learning. Today's entire education system the world over, and you must have seen articles and UGC announcement. They're announcing 900 autonomous colleges to also go online. Means they can give online courses. While all those things are great, but I believe hybrid learning is the right approach. Means certain self-learning, because without a guru, nobody can learn. We do require faculty people to help us. But at the same time, technology is also one area which is making a huge impact. And all these technologies, incidentally, are coming from social entrepreneurs. So who is a social entrepreneurs? Social entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs who are looking at the social cause and coming out with products and technologies which is making an impact. Two examples I already cited to you. One is an agricultural social entrepreneurs, and here is an edtech company which is actually working at the grassroots level. Incidentally, not all edtech companies are essentially social entrepreneurs, because many of them are very clear that they are there for business, right? Even a social entrepreneur is there for business, please understand. But he looks at the social cause of it. In this case, looking at the marginalized community or economically weaker section of the society. Yet another example is health, right? So if you look at it, this is another beautiful app, and technology has been used. It's called as Epocare Private Limited, again from India. It is what is called as VAP, India's first wound healing analysis and prediction devices. Basically what it does is, you can see here on the screen a camera. Okay, the camera basically looks at that particular wound. Okay, and based on the back end, which is used, predictive analysis as being used, that is analytics and predictive, it's able to clearly tell as to how many days it's going to take, the healing is going to happen, or the wound is going to get healed. Provided, of course, you don't put water and other things and create the wound and become it worse. But it's a predictive analysis. Based on that, many for example, sportsmen, okay, they want to know, or it could be students who are suddenly met with some small accident and they have to go to college. They don't know. They can use this app. You can use the technology. It will tell you, in how many days you're likely for the wound to get healed. So this is the beautiful app, and a beautiful technology come from Epocare Private Limited. Now, another problem which you are having in India is disaster. And you all know we had the Kerala floods, we had the Chennai floods, we had the Uttarakhand, major landslide and floods, right? So if you look at it, every year we get hurricanes, right? It will be all nice names they keep, from Katrina to various names they keep, and that's how the disaster management companies come out. They keep some very nice names, but they are all horrible. The hurricane which strikes, or the storm which strikes, right, in the coastal belts or anything like that, is a disaster. It creates basically havoc in the life of people, including death of people. But luckily now, technology has moved so much that are enough disaster warning systems. You must have heard of how in Odisha, they evacuated villages out of villages before their storm really hit, right? And because of the beautiful apps which are there, it is able to tell. In this particular thing, it's able to, using satellite, it's easily able to think, it's able to clearly tell, and it also able to report the hurricane damages, so that the people who are actually disaster management system or disaster response system is able to immediately go to that locality or the street or anything like that, and able to immediately take care of this particular thing. Today, nobody can do anything on disaster, right? It's after all an act of God. But today, if you look at it, currently the death rate have come down drastically. But the damage, nobody can do anything because it's an act of God, and the hurricane can be terrible. It's not only in India, you have seen in US and all the other parts, the hurricane can be very, very damaging to the society. Now, there's a beautiful app which is actually helping the various response system, be it the police, be it the fire, right? And also in terms of relief, for example, you want to provide timely food and other things to those people, affected people, then they can go to a helicopter and do it, right? You must have seen all those things in the newspaper and other things, or television for that matter. Now, all this actually are being aided by social entrepreneurs. They are the ones who have come out with beautiful technology by means of which they are able to immediately take action and help those people in need. Now, yet another one is very, very important is for the persons with disability. And we all know that, you can have various forms of disability, like you can have speech and hearing impairment, you can have persons with visual impairment, you can have cerebral palsy, you can have various autistic spectrum disorders and all those things, right? Now, thanks to technology, the blind can see. The blind can see, okay? And the people who can't hear are able to, basically they are trying to improve it with technologies. Now, here is a company from India. I know Google has also come out, but this is a company startup. And so I took an example of startup. It's called Vishruti by Avaya Intelligence. Again, it's a startup, social entrepreneurs. So what he does is basically using this, he's got battery and storage. He's got specialized low power processor chip for computer vision and deep learning. OK, there's deep learning. All the places there will be deep learning, which has to happen. And basically he uses it. There's a bone conduction in headphones, and it's a 2D camera prototype, advanced 3D depth sensing camera, and everything is being planned. Based on this, it's able to visualize the blind person is able to visualize a thing which is actually, it's basically it's a perception, right? Nothing but sight is nothing but a perception. You are able to see, and you are able to visualize and say this is SVC College, Professor Manju, like that, so on and so forth, right? The same thing has been done by a startup called Avaya Intelligence from India. So having set some few examples of health, disaster management, education and agriculture, why are we doing it? Why is it that social entrepreneurs are so excited about? Obviously, one is passion, the passion that I got to do something, and the passion is because of the data which is there right in front of you. Can see 9 out of 10 most polluted cities in the world are in India. 62 million youth in India drop out of school by 10th standard. 1/3 of the world's malnourished children actually are living in India. That means to say that they have no food. That's the thing, and 120 million people or youth need to be skilled today, and by 2025 another 250 million youth are to be estimated to enter the Indian workforce. See, we are an young population. Our demographic dividend is actually the gift. We are a very, very young country. Very few people are there like me who are 60 plus, right? Majority of them are very young. It's good. But the problem is enough jobs are not available today. We don't have enough jobs, right? 8 million graduates are coming out every year. How many of them are getting jobs? Not even 50%. 50% don't have jobs today. Even though they complete engineering, they don't have jobs today. The reason is everybody wants to join a large firm. And here the issues are much more. You have the most polluted cities, like in Delhi. If you look at it, people in the after the winter and when the harvest is actually is over, you find pollution going all time high. One is the winter conditions, the fog are there, and top of that, the various burning of various farm waste is happening. And Delhi becomes one of the most polluted cities. Similarly, Bombay, similarly Calcutta, and I think Bangalore is also following suit, and other cities are there, which is very, very terrible. And of course, malnourishment is there, and the current COVID situation has made more, because this particular data is before COVID. Okay, after COVID, nobody knows because COVID is still there, right? You can imagine the kind of malnourishment, nourishment which is there in India. That means to say the children When you don't have good nourishment, you'll find more people with disability. Okay, because many of the things are acquired disability. Over a period of time, they lose this sight. Over a period of time, can't hear, and many of them, their limbs become weak. All those things happen because of lack of vitamins, lack of proteins, lack of so many things, right? And these are generally, that's why you find a correlation between disabled people and economically weaker section. And that is one of the data which is showing it, and it's only because we have malnourishment in India. Okay, so these are alarming situations. These alarming situations can only be sorted out by social entrepreneurs. Nobody else can do it but social entrepreneurs. I'm not saying the government can't do, right? Government does amazing things, but government wants support. Okay, government has NIC, government has got EarnIt, government has got many things, but they don't have the kind of brains, the kind of technology, understanding which the social entrepreneurs have got. And these social entrepreneurs are the ones who are making a difference to the overall economy and for the well-being of the marginalized communities in the country. So one of the things is, if you look at it, when I mentioned government, I thought, let me share with you that government has done great job. It was the first exclusive education satellite which was introduced, right? And satellite is also a technology. And because of that, Doordarshan, I remember, was able to basically telecast, various educational content through EarnIt as well as through Doordarshan. And EarnIt is a beautiful thing where all the colleges are connected through EarnIt, right? Big colleges are connected. I don't know whether SVC is in EarnIt, but that's how this entire activity actually had begun. And when going back 20, 30 years ago, probably in 80s, and that is the entire aspects of how the educational satellite system is started. And even today, many villages today are making use of satellites for education, and government continues to actually beam and telecast a lot of educational content through satellites. And of course, you're all city people having studying engineering, you may not even know about all these things. But in case you are from one of the small villages, you would have noticed that in many schools, they have television and they're actually beaming the content from Doordarshan. Okay. So just like this, there's another beautiful app called mGuru. I think mGuru is from Bangalore, I think. By means of which he has come out with beautiful app, and you can see children are actually using this app, and actually it's being done in schools today. Currently in, I think, Whitefield and all, they're using this, and basically they are able to learn through pictures and other things. Various educational content have been rolled on. I'll give one more example. Is an example of a story weaver. Story Weaver has now gone into multiple languages, by the way. It's got, I think, now more than 200 colleges. It's probably one of the biggest content, because nothing like story. See, whatever I'm telling is story, right? Nothing like storytelling. Now, this particular one, is all about stories in various languages, more than 200 colleges. I mean, 200 languages, sorry. And at that time it was 13,000, must have gone to 15,000, 20,000. And this particular one is actually called, it's coming from Pratham Books. Incidentally, Pratham Books founder is Madam Rekha Menon, Rekha Menon is currently the chairman of Accenture. When she took a break, she didn't sit at home alone. She started this activity along with her other partners, and they started this company called Story Weaver. It's also called Pratham Books. And today this has gone world over. And this particular one is impacting a lot of students across various countries, because this particular one is in local languages. I told you more than 200 plus languages, and they are learning through storytelling. Because all of us, if you look at Indian culture, we learn, right, through basically our grandparents or fathers or mothers telling us stories, right? Some of them could be mythological stories from, let's say, our own Puranas or Mahabharata or Ramayana or Bible or anything, but they are basically story, and every story actually there's a moral behind it, right? So the whole aspect is storytelling is a beautiful approach of actually really educating the children. And this particular company called Pratham Books or Story Weaver has done amazing job of really going all over the world. So the products which is coming from India, it's just not for India, please bear in mind, it's for the world. Because if you are able to sort out issues in India, we can sort it out for the world. In the fact is, you have more malnourishment. You have quite a lot of 25% of our population is still illiterate, and you have so much of other issue, electricity issues still are there. If you are able to come out with renewable energy, if you are able to come out with solution for malnourishment or various other health issues, health is most important, then you're not only sorting out issues for the country, you're actually sorting out for the world, because many other countries are like India, like Africa, for example, or Latin America, right? You are able to sort out for the world. And that's what is happening to many social entrepreneurs. The product they came from India has actually gone hit out in the world. And social entrepreneurs are not done NGO. NGO stands for non-governmental offices. Okay, they are basically more like a trust or a Section 8 firm, and the entire profits is plowed back into the company. Whereas the social entrepreneurs can take profits and can run as any other enterprises. Okay, they can make profits. Please understand, any enterprise without profit has no meaning. Even an NGO has to make money. Even an educational institution has to make money. If there's no money, where will the money come from, right? So all of them are financially stable, but their solution is finally going to a beneficiary. The final beneficiary are the ones which are the most needed. Their entire lens is keeping the beneficiary in mind, not a product. Product is immaterial. Technology is immaterial. Most important is a beneficiary. What do they want? Right? They look at that aspect and come out with solution. So all of you engineers who are there, when you think about it, you have to look at what is it that you're trying to sort. Who is it that you're trying to sort? It's for you, not for yourself, obviously, right? It's for your final beneficiary. And that's how this entire aspect has actually come out. And these people have a different mindset. Mindset is, first is looking at what are the challenges of a beneficiary. Okay. Looking at the challenges of the beneficiary, they come out with products using technology, because technology is a most important element for them to actually make that impact, right? Because it's scalable and it is fast and it's agile. You are able to come out with new products very fast, and that's how this entire aspects of a social entrepreneur is there. This is yet another example of an education called Cobels. I'm giving too many examples of education because I continue to be very, very fascinated by tech. So that's why I give more example. This is also DigiTeach, basically human to people thing, wherein you are able to teach to technology from people to people. So here this technology is such that is disseminated through a large number of volunteers, and the volunteers in turn are able to teach the various other people. Okay, VChalk is another example. This is basically, if you look at it, you see this very interesting thing. Father's occupation, auto rickshaw driver. Mother's occupation, iron vendor. Extra tuition, 300 per month. Okay, thing. Fourth day of Pinewood School, Bangalore. This is the thing. So this Nitesh has been able to use a VChalk. Okay, by means of using this, he's been able to, look at the beneficiary. There is hardly any money for them, right? And this is how he has been. This technology is helping them. So, and because of that, his scores have, basically improved by using this technology called VChalk. Okay, so I'll not get into that. This incidentally, I'll go back to that slide. This incidentally is something is for the what I call it illiterates, right? So if you look at this lady here, this is actually learning through pictures, and this incident is all in Telugu. Okay, now for this particular one, they're using a technology by means of which they are able to learn, the Telugu language without really understanding what is that language of Telugu. Through pictures, they're able to learn that. So this is another very good example of how this is happening, but there's not so much of technology in that. So coming to skilling is different than education, okay? Because the whole aspect is, for example, all of you are engineers. You might like to get yourself skilled in maybe artificial intelligence or maybe IoT and all. That's a different skilling. And some of the people in the industry today, they would have learned long back, long back Java or maybe C++ and all. And today's world is such that they have to learn into artificial intelligence or big data or various other tools. So there is a skill activity which happens, and that is something which is there. Okay, now let me move to persons with disability. When you talk about persons with disability, our census is very old, 2011. So there they spoke only about something around 2.38 crores or something like that. But various other data from India Today and all those things shows clearly that the number of persons with disability has gone up to almost 15%. And the number of categories of people with disability, government has recognized 21 different categories. Okay, earlier there were only 7. And 2019, when the RPD Act, RPD means Rights of People with Disability Act, was introduced, they had 21 different categories of disability. Okay. And unfortunately, in our country, it's only our country where you find that they are the invisible force. If you go to London, for example, and I had gone there for some work with Milton Keynes, Open University Milton Keynes. For 3 years, I had to work with those professors there. And one of the areas which I found when I was really fascinated, everything is accessible, and person with disability is not that, they are born blind or they're born deaf. Okay. As your age keeps growing up, right, we start losing our eyesight, we start losing, and many of them are not able to walk. So even the elderly also gets impacted on products and technologies which you come out with persons with disability. So it's not just person with disability alone. Sometimes it's temporary disability. For example, a woman who's pregnant, okay, cannot climb up 3 floors, right? So these are some examples. Or suddenly you have fallen sick, or suddenly you've fallen down and you break your leg. You are a disabled person temporarily, maybe 6 months, but you are still a disabled person. So these are very important. But from the social side of it, it's much more, because you're looking at livelihood. Reason why I'm talking about livelihood is, when a person grows up, he has to run his own family. He has to get married. He'll have to look after children, right? So a person with disability is not what you can call it, a big burden to the family. You have to make them self-sufficient. You have to empower them to ensure that they are able to live meaningful life. You have to increase their livelihood. And that is the concept of a social entrepreneurs, who are giving them enough assistive technology, okay, so that they're going to assist them on their daily living and they're able to perform like you and I are doing regularly. Example is a wheelchair, is a classic example. Okay, because of a wheelchair, a person who is locomotive disability is able to use and is able to walk around quite easily with a wheelchair or a Jaipur leg, we call it, right? So they put that prosthetic leg, and because of that, without even a limb, he's able to walk, right? And that is how this entire activity is there. But let's look at more. So you can see here, it's a beautiful thing called BTech. BTech, I think, is in Bangalore. This person, what has happened is, supposing you're staying alone and you can't hear, what happens when a doorbell rings also, you can't make out, right? Because you can't hear. So he's come out with a watch. In that watch, it basically tells you that the doorbell is ringing as you're able to open the door. Simple thing, simple technology, no great thing. I mean, I'm telling you it's simple, but obviously he has used Bluetooth and other things. But I'm just giving you an example of how a social entrepreneur thinks. He thinks of solutions for those people, and this is a solution, and it's marketable, it's sold. Okay, it's not that he's doing it for free, charity. No, there's no charity, there's business. In this case, the business is for people who can't hear. Okay, you can call them as deaf, okay, or basically hard of hearing. Okay, so these people are the ones, and these people are not necessarily young, they can even be old. This is another product for innovation, basically by means of which he is able to come out and use the keyboard and think through braille language. He's able to use it. Now braille, unfortunately, not everybody's learned braille, and I was surprised to find that, because over a period of time, technology has become so very powerful that today, through readers, they're able to read and find out the name. Because I thought, I put my card with all this braille, and I thought he's going to feel it and say, my name is, oh, your name is Ashok. No, he never did that. He took the technology and scanned it and said, Ashok Pamadi, he said. So I said, you don't know braille? He said, no, I don't know braille. So that's how it is. But however, people who are born blind, they have to learn braille. People who lose their sight after some time, they don't learn braille, they use technology. But technology is even otherwise useful. Learning braille is important for them, but using technology is even more useful because they are able to make a lot of difference. Okay, so again, this is a catheter reprocessing system. It's a very, very complicated, if God forbid, if you have seen any of your relative going to the catheter reprocessing, it's very, very complicated. Now what these people have done is, using again a back-end system, they're able to clearly predict as to when the catheter has to be replaced and so on and so forth. And this is not only painful, if you don't do it properly, invariably they get urinary tract infection and so on and so forth. So this is a new technology which these people have come out with. Okay, now this is Soham, which is very used extensively. I think this was done in Kerala. They tried this thing. What is that is, when an infant is born, right? if you are able to basically sort out the hearing issues in the first few months, then the child doesn't become, speech and hearing impairment throughout his life. So this is a non-invasive technique. Non-invasive means you don't really have to put various types of sensors inside the thing. It's all outside. This particular technology is able to clearly predict the child is going to have trouble in hearing. Okay, and invariably when you have trouble in hearing, you'll also have trouble in speech. That's why they say speech and hearing impairment, right? So this is where it's able to sort out, and the doctors can take immediate remedial action. Financial inclusion and livelihood. Now this is very, very important, because if you look at what the government has done, right, they have basically removed all this, rupee changes and all, and they introduced UPI, right? And because of that, even a fellow who's selling coconut water in front of the house says, "Sir, no change, please give me UPI. UPI ilwa," he'll say. And even the fellows who are selling bondas and budgies today are using, barcodes and asking you to pay through, your Paytm or Google Pay or whatever it is. Now, what has really happened today in the country? Nowhere else, nowhere else. You go to Dubai, they don't have this. Every single person today, street hawkers today, are able to do transaction through financial inclusion. What does it mean? It means that you are giving money at their fingertips. They are able to manage their own funds. Now, managing funds is extremely important, especially for marginalized societies, marginalized communities. Let's say women today. Okay, you look at women, they require, you have to give women empowerment programs we talk about, right? Now, if you have money in a women, they are able to do better, because a women actually manages the household. Women actually manage the children's education, especially the younger education, the nursery, the schooling, they manage. And they are the ones who look at the health aspects more closely than men. And fourth aspects, in case, they are well off, they are the ones who really look at it. Can I look at building a house? It's a woman who takes a decision. It's not a man. Some of them, in case, the women are not working, they are taking it. But invariably, the women of the house is most important. So they say, educate a woman, okay, educate a man, you are educating him. Educate a woman, you are not only educating a woman, you are educating the family, their community, and the nation. So that's why, government says Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, all those things are their programs. And I also strongly believe that is extremely important to empower women. So Grameen Foundation is one such example where the entire activity is on empowering women. And this is again used through technology, through app. They are able to give and pass on the necessary funds to the women. It's all pictorially depicted. Otherwise, like this exchange of notes actually doesn't happen. It goes and directly hits their bank. Okay, so again, I gave you an example. There is a one from Krishi Suchak is from Bangalore. Okay, they are using it in Karnataka, in Kannada, by the way. So they are able to basically, it will tell you all the, the soil testing, right? pH value of the soil, etc., etc. They are able to do it. In fact, you'll be surprised when I told this to the government. Government also was not aware such a thing is done by a startup called Krishi Suchak. So there are some amazing products which are come out with this startup. And this basically gives you the entire information of the health of the soil, water. Okay, apart from various weather forecasts and all, which is very commonly done, it tells you exactly when to put fertilizer. It says clearly there, and based on that, the farmer is able to take that decision. Okay, now I spoke a little bit about the so-called aspects of renewable energy, and you know that COP26, the government of India has signed. Our Prime Minister has also been a signatory of COP26. What it means is that means to say the fossil fuels, you'll have to bring it down and you'll have to use renewable energy. Renewable energy or alternate energy like solar, like wind, like ocean currents and so on and so forth, you will have to use. Now, Solar Prahari is a beautiful example by means of which I'll go back. I mean, just what it does is, when you have various solar panels, right? Let's say street lights are there, solar lit street lights. You can't be going around and seeing each and every light, right? So this particular solar Prahari, through one panel, you are able to find out which are the panels which are working, which are the panels which requires repairment and so on and so forth. So this is one simple example. By use of one technology, you are able to clearly sort out a complete community or a village or anything like that, they are able to ensure that the solar panels are being repaired. Means it will give you a warning that this particular one is not working. So that's what it does instead of going physically and seeing all these things, right? So these are some classic example of how this is. Environment, we all sort, I said, spoke to you that 9 out of the 10 cities, worst cities in pollution is in India. There's a very nice company called Strato Enviro, which is basically used in Maharashtra and in Telangana government. What it does is, it's a small attempt. Please understand, it's pollution control is first you have to nip at the base itself to ensure that pollution is not there. But even then, what I've done is this basically thing. It's a product basically, and it takes in all the bad air and pumps out good air. Okay, and these people have basically deployed it in places where maximum pollution are there. You can see this particular one is being deployed, I think, in Telangana, in an area, big circle where near the petrol bunk, where maximum number of pollution is there. It's able to suck in. You can see the filter, all the bad pollutants are there, and is able to suck out good air. So this is what it does in this thing. Through various sensors, it's able to draw in this air. So this is a good example of a startup supported by government, and they are able to deploy it in various strategic locations in the city. So the other one is again from Andhra. It's called Sankalp Taru. What it does is they do nothing but tree plantation. I wish I had that. I had that one. Oh God, I kept it upstairs. It's a beautiful thing. What it does is you can plant a number of trees. Okay, but the thing is you don't know what is happening. So through an app, you are able to basically scan it, and you become the owner of that particular tree. Okay, and you are able to watch it grow. So this is actually done in some remote forest in Telangana. I have got 4 of them. In fact, somebody had given me, instead of giving some gift like books or anything, nowadays people are actually planting trees on your behalf and then giving you a certificate telling that this tree belongs to you. Means that you are doing some good cause for the nation, for the country, and for the world, because planting more trees is good, right? Provided you plant in the right place, huh? Because you can't be planting everywhere and then water sucks and other problems are there. But these people, Sankalp Taru does, he's actually making forests in Andhra and Telangana. And all the people who are there, they are all, they get to know, because you have to buy. You have to buy it at 350 rupees, 400 rupees, you can buy a tree, and it tells you exactly how it is growing. Again, through technology and through barcode, you are able to clearly, you have to scan it. You are able to see how your tree is growing from a small plant, it becomes big. So that is a beauty aspect of this Sankalp Taru. Okay. So Earthwatch Institute is again where they keep watching how these trees are growing and so on and so forth, again using the technology. Sanitation, that, even in Bangalore, you have various things, right? Like Sulabh is there. Shelter Associates is another firm which is using, like Sulabh, they are basically setting up a number of toilets across the length and breadth of the country, so that the hygiene issue, health issues are being sorted out, because we don't have enough toilets in the country, and that's what these companies like Shelter Associates and Sulabh are doing currently. So having said all these things, I give you a number of examples. I firmly believe people are at the heart of social transformation. You use data, use technology, and keeping the people in mind, we believe people are at the heart of social transformation. So having said that, I would like to mention, this is my last slide. Technology is nothing. What's important is that you have faith in people, that they're basically good and smart. And if you give them tools, they'll do wonderful things with them. This is coming in from none other than Steve Jobs. So thank you very much. If there are any questions, I would like to take these questions now. And I hope, whatever I said was useful to you. And I trust and pray that some of you will get excited to become social entrepreneurs in the future. So thank you very much. I think I have around another 8 to 10 minutes left still. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me any questions you have.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving very good knowledge related to social entrepreneurship and next wave in the India, what all the innovative things are coming on. Thank you very much, sir. Students, any queries related to the topic? You can
I think
unmute yourself and you can tell.
Sorry. Dear children, you can unmute and you can talk to sir because I have enabled all the cameras and microphones. And any faculty or staff members got anything to be clarified with sir? Please.
So good afternoon, sir. It's being nice to discuss with you. Actually, myself, Dr. Dijesh, HOD of ENC. I wanted to ask you one thing, sir. As per your experience, what will be your suggestion for the youngsters to start up the entrepreneurship?
Good point, sir. It's a very, very good question. In fact, you know what? Why should the students start a social entrepreneur? Okay. See, sir, first and foremost thing, I would say it could be social entrepreneur or it could be, you know, the commercial type of entrepreneurs. What is important is to first get an attitude, you know, whether they have an attitude of being very creative. Okay, number one. Number two, whether they're able to identify the problems. As a social entrepreneurs, first you have to identify the problems which is actually they see for themselves. Okay, what is important is to see for themselves. For example, there was this company called Redbus, sir. Okay, when Redbus was started, I believe he found out going from Bangalore to Hosur was a challenge. He found out that he had to go near that Adugodi and stand in the queue there, and the buses were going empty. And because of that, he started Redbus. Okay, and then it became a big hit. Now it's not really social entrepreneurs, but he found out that there is a problem, right? So from the student's point of view, here it's not a funds which is required. It's actually an idea which is actually coming in from the direct usage or the recipient of that particular solution is the beneficiary, right? So if you are able to come out with a solution which is going to get impacted to them, then that's a great product. So that is first aspect. Second, most important, they should not just meet one beneficiary. They have to meet minimum 100. You have to meet minimum 100 people to understand the real problem, what is there, and then come out with this solution. Then you are able to sort out the solution. The whole problem is many people, they talk to one or two people, their own friends or their own relative and say this is a problem. No, you have to meet many people to understand the real problem, many like people, and then say this is the solution, come out with it, and then you will see the success happening. And today enough support is given by government and various other incubators, right? Government has got a startup policy and so on and so forth, right? Government of Karnataka is also giving that. So I think what is important for the students is to come out with products, and when they are in the so-called final semester, like 7th and 8th, they do projects. They should try to take projects which is very useful, and then do that. The main today problem is everybody wants a job. Everybody wants to join Infosys, Accenture, okay, IBM, HP, okay. Nobody wants to really the few of them, right, who want to really become entrepreneurs. There are only a handful of good entrepreneurs today. There is enough scope, especially social entrepreneurs. We are very few. Bulk of the startups today, if you look at it, they're all in the B2C activity of e-commerce and e-tailers, right? How many of them have you heard of social entrepreneurs becoming big? Answer is very less, because they really have to have that passion, that attitude for making it big. So that is one aspect which I have to say is they have to have that passion, the attitude, and really taking a solution which is going to make an impact. That is what I have to say, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions, Professor asked? Thank you very much.
So
Dr.
one more question. Myself, Sarla, and for social entrepreneurs, they can't be able to get the funding also from outside companies or well-reputed companies who funds for the entrepreneurs, but social entrepreneurs won't get that much support. Where to get those type of funding support, sir?
So good question, ma'am. There are some few incubators today currently like Alpha Systems, and there's a company CEO is Pratik, okay, who are basically only looking at supporting social entrepreneurs. There are companies like Accenture. The Accenture's team is tech for good. Okay, their entire aspect is tech for good. Just to give you an idea, all of you have heard of Akshay Patra, right? Akshay Patra, where they go and basically gives food to the schools and even in jails and all, they're doing it. Amazing, all over India they're doing. Do you know that it was actually powered by blockchain, and the blockchain entire solution came from Accenture Solutions for Good. So they are the ones, they do accelerators, they support these social entrepreneurs in a big way. There's one such examples, right? Microsoft does it in a big way. Microsoft Accelerator, they also support. So there are many such accelerators who are there to support these social causes, and more than anybody, government itself. Government itself is willing to support in a big way all social entrepreneurs who are able to come and help them in this endeavor.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions from anybody else? Today's youth has got more opportunity than what it was earlier. See, when we completed our engineering, we had no choice. Okay, because the first choice was only government. And incidentally, even I joined government because there was no other choice, right? Whatever job you had to join was a government job. There was no other thing. There was no IBM and no HPs and all. They came later on. If you remember, after 90s, when the liberalization happened, all these multinational companies came. So the other thing was only public sector jobs. So you had to look at either ITI, HAL, BHEL, BEML, Maruti Udyog was there, right? Or joining pure government or the state government. I joined UP government. I joined UP electronics government thing. So that's one choice. Second choice is in those days, we were basically told by our parents what to do. My mother was very clear, you should join only public sector and or government, and which public sector is also government. She said that, in those days, 80s, nobody will get married to you if you join private sector. So I was compelled to join only government. So I joined government, worked there for 5 years. Then later on in 90s, when the liberalization happened, I joined, private sector TVS Electronics, and then moved on to digital and HP and so on and so forth. So, but today's choice is different. Today you have a choice. Today parents are telling you what you want to do, whether you want to join private sector, whether you want to join government, or whether you want to join startup, or you want to become startup. I think the choices are more for today's youth than what it was there earlier. So you people are blessed. You have a choice. If not now, you can look at it later. Invariably, women are the ones who take up more social entrepreneurs. Somewhere or other, the emotional quotient is high for them. They are the ones who actually become big social entrepreneurs more than men. That's the thing which I'm clearly seeing. They start commercial startups, and somewhere or other they get into the social aspects in a very, very big way. So that's another thing which I thought I should share this with you. I think we are almost at the end of the answer, I think. So if there are any further questions, I can take it. Otherwise, thank you very much. I would like to thank the management of SVCE to have invited me. And this particular one is actually close to my heart because I continue to be a social entrepreneur. I'm an advisor to the Disability NGO Alliance. I continue to support in those areas, as well as women empowerment programs is something which I keep working with them very, very closely. So for me, social entrepreneurs are, according to me, definitely the next way for India. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It was a wonderful talk from your end, and we really enjoyed it. And we would like to have more and more experience of yours to be shared with our students in the future. We'll be in touch with you, sir, for further association with you in the future, sir. Very much thankful to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಸರ್ ಜಿಜೇಶ್ ಸರ್ ನೀವೇ ಎಕ್ಸಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ರಲ್ಲ.
ಸರ್ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ.
ಸರ್ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ.
ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ ಮೇಡಮ್,
ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
hear you.
Sir, ask Manju sir to give a call and ask him to connect it for a while, at least for a few seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'll close it by Thanksgiving, like that only, no issues.
1 second, madam.
Sir, no, sir. Leave it, sir. We will close the session because even the people need to go to bus. Today, 4:15, the buses will go. That's why. So, Darshan, sir.
Yes, madam.
Thank giving movies video. Fast, fast.
What of thanks, madam?
Yes.
A very good evening to one and all. It gives me an immense pleasure to deliver to the vote of thanks for this event to all dignitaries assembled here. I would like to thank our resource person, Professor Ashok Pandey sir, startup analyst and advisor, former CEO NASCOM, Bengaluru, who honored this function with inspirational thoughts. I would like to thank our beloved chief patron, IAC President Dr. Shashidhar Muniappa, Principal Dr. Nageshwara Gupta M, Dean Academics J.R. Purnima Madam, HOD Dr. Jijesh JJ, IAC Convener Dr. Nirmala S. Gupta, staff member, students, non-teaching staff for making this function as a grand success. Once again, I thanks one and all present here. Thank you.